Hi everybody, welcome back to Rainbow Acrylics. My name's Claire. I'm playing around with some really pale blues and greens at the moment, some really quite neutral colours. I've got some paint left over, so I've actually added a darker green and a darker blue, and I'm going to try a chameleon pour. So I'm going to do a flip cup without any silicone in the paints. Then I'm going to use a little push pin just to dip some silicone in afterwards to create a pattern. So fab colours. Really excited to get started. So let me show you the colours. These are the three main colours I'm using. So Montmartre turquoise, De La Rowney phthalo turquoise and Amsterdam manganese blue. I've got them up there ready to layer my cups. This is the manganese blue. This is the Montmartre turquoise, but over the other side is the Montmartre turquoise with some white added, so it's paler. And then these two blues here are also the manganese blue, but with again different amounts of white added. So there's actually only three main colours there, which we've got here. Silver, Pebeo Studio Acrylic Silver, and some Montmartre white as well. Let me show you the consistency. They're mixed 3 parts PVA pouring medium to 2 parts paint. So if you imagine it roughly 60 grams of pouring medium, 40 grams of paint in each cup. So first thing to do is to layer up cups. I'm going to layer up 3 cups. There's a lot of colours, 8 colours is quite a lot. So 1 layer of each colour in each cup. And I may have far too much paint here, but well, yeah, we'll see. This is the order I'm going with. So I've split up the blues, I've split up the greens. So I'm just going to do a little drizzle of each colour in each cup. As I said, there is no silicone in here. I'll be adding that afterwards. I'm using here a 30 by 40 centimetre canvas. Oh, I'd levelled it, but can you see it's got a slight tilt to it? Yeah, it's not. It's not actually totally level. So if it's not level, just fiddle around with the push pins in the back and pull them out slightly or push them in. So that's lost its tilt now. Yeah, that's better. That's level. And then just check the other way. Oh, I see now that's not. Right, that is now level and there's no tilt. It doesn't move. All 4 push pins are touching the bottom. Right, so I've got 3 little cups. I think I've got too much paint here, but doesn't really matter. Oh, in fact, if I've got too much, I might do 2 cups instead of 3. I'm doing flip cups, so I'm just going to flip them over. I think I will do 3. So I might be tilting a bit of this off, but that's okay. I just like to burp it, let a little bit of the air out. And I think I'm just going to tip them over so that the paint flows towards the centre. So let me show you this. Do this one first. Wow, that is really pretty. Wow, look at those colours. Oh, that is so pretty. Right, a good amount of paint because I can really tilt this round nicely. Let's give it a torch. As I said, there's no silicone, so it doesn't really matter if I torch now or later. Right, so let's get some of this canvas covered. So you do naturally get some cells, and that's because there's different brands of paint I've used, different types of paint. So there's iridescent paint, there's non-iridescent paint. So it's all to do with the density of the paint. Some paints are denser than others, so they sit lower, they sit higher within the paint on the canvas. Right, that is really quite pretty. Nice and sort of tranquil. I like the way I've got you can sort of almost see the 3 cups still, 1, 2, 3. And I like that because there's no, if you just do 2 cups, I think it's too symmetrical. You'll somewhere have one line, one obvious divide where the 2 puddles meet. So I'm really quite happy with that. So to make the cells, I'm going to use this. It's made by a company called OGX, and it says Nourishing Coconut Milk Anti-Breakage Hair Serum. So it's effectively an oil. So acrylic paints, these are mixed with water, so they're water-based. And then I'm going to be adding oil, and obviously oil and water don't mix. So that's what creates the reaction between the water and the oil to create the cells. So I've just put a little bit on my worktop here. I'm going to use a push pin. You can use anything with a little tip on the end. And I'm just going to dip the end of my push pin in the oil, and then I'm just going to dab it on the canvas. So I need to decide whether to do, so my original idea was to do maybe a spiral, or the other option is to go with the design in the paint, to go with the wave in the paint, or to do lines. You could do absolutely anything. I think I'm going to do a spiral because I really like spirals. So I'm just dipping just the end in, and I'm just going to very gently just dab that in the paint. So this is when I will know if the consistency is right. If the consistency is too thick, the cells just don't appear. If it's too thin, they appear, but they get so big, they kind of merge into one another. You do not need to dip your push pin into the oil every single time, because you just need the tiniest bit of oil. So I'm doing maybe 8 dips into the paint with each dip into the oil. I'm so incredibly happy. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you can see the underlying pattern underneath. I was trying not to crowd it too much. You have to make the decision on how close to put the spots of silicone. And if you put them too close, they just, that's fine, but they just don't show any background at all. So I've tried not to do them too close. You'll notice in the middle, they're larger than at the edge over here, and that's just because of time. So these were the ones that I did first. I did this side first, and then I finished up over here. So you can see they're smaller. So this isn't how it's going to end up. It will end up, the cells will keep on growing. But what an amazing balance. I'm so happy with, you've got a bit of the darker turquoise there, a bit of the darker blue, a bit there. So you've got a bit of the darker without the dark taking over, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted a good balance of all the colours. I think the consistency is pretty good because the cells are expanding, but they are also still keeping their shape. As I said, if there's consistency, if it's too runny, the cells will just totally take over. Like, can you see that one there? That cell, let me just focus it. The cell there in the centre, that paint is obviously slightly thinner because that's really distorted. But that isn't typical of all of them. So there must just be a slightly runnier bit of mixture going through there. Really happy, really excited about this. It's just the colours, they are just so tranquil, so relaxing. Oh, sorry. Turquoises are definitely my favourite, one of my favourites. Great, so I'll be back when it's dry. So it's now dry, and as you can see, the cells did expand, but not massively, which is perfect because you can really see the background still. You can see the cups where I've flipped them. So there's one there, this is one, and then this is one. So you've got that real design underneath and composition, but you can still really clearly see all the cells. So let me just show you up close. So lots of different shapes and sizes. They're more or less round, which means I think the consistency is pretty much spot on. Some are smaller, so maybe that's where there was less silicone on the point. But I just love the way you've got, within each cell, you've got so many different colour variations. They look like mussels there, like a mussel shell, a double shell there. So pretty. The colours are gorgeous. I love the fact that it's such a pale painting with the odd hint of the dark. Really, really pretty. Let me show you the shine on it. So this is just from the pouring medium, the PVA glue. You've got a really nice shine to it. Also, can you see in some places it looks slightly wet? That's the silicone. So sometimes the silicone just sits on the surface. It's not a problem because I'll just clean it with a baby wipe before I varnish it. So a lot of people hate the idea of silicone on their paintings, but it's really quite easy. Just clean it with a baby wipe and then you can varnish it. I have a specific varnishing technique actually. I'll include my video for it in the description of this because it always works without fail, even if there's silicone in a painting. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm quite tempted to do this again, but with a more distinct circle or spiral or a totally different pattern as well. Because I think the spiral does get slightly lost, but let me know what you think. Great, thanks so much for watching. Bye.